Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. Since last episode I've done a few things. I did a little bit of beautification of the base itself, and I'll show you some of that throughout the course of this episode. There are railings pretty much the whole, maybe the whole main floor of the base, and I think the whole upper floor too, all the way around all the perimeter. I didn't do the oil refinery down there. But you can kind of get the concept and get the idea, and also the way some of those buildings were positioned, I think didn't lead to it being very conducive. So I left that one as is at the moment. One of the things we wanted to do here was we wanted to build the space elevator again, just to have it here. It's not actually going to do anything, but just to have it here and be able to kind of, I don't know, look upon it, I guess. So I'm going to try and center it here as reasonably as possible across these, what is that, 8 horizontal, and then it looks like it's, I don't know, 7 or so deep, because I'm centering it along that horizontal line as opposed to centering it or putting it exactly square on the foundations, and that's because of this horizontal line here. I kind of wanted it to be an extension of the mall, but I wanted some gap here, and I'll show you why I want that gap there in a moment. Let's watch this animation again, just because it's one of my favorite animations in the game. And we did this so many episodes ago. I don't know, maybe episode 3 or 5 or something along that line. I didn't look it up, sorry. But yeah, this is kind of where we started in a way, and it's kind of going to be where we end too. Tethered down. Okay. Nice. And just to A, make sure there's nothing we need to do here, and B, get rid of that exclamation mark. I'm going to click on that. So, as I said, I have railings around, I think, this entire main floor. I've done this over a little more than a day of time between the recording of the last episode and this one. So I've put up a bunch of railings, and I also did some support beams. I kind of intended to do this a little bit more than I actually accomplished here, but I put up a bunch of kind of supports here. There's one there, you can see this one here, of course. These two here are kind of supporting that stretch back there, along with this one existed for a while, but I added this one in. So kind of just making the base be a little bit more logical. I mean, this is quite the span for a non-support, but you know, just kind of making the base a little bit more logically laid out. So I did that as well. I want to go and kind of, maybe I'll just do a fly away here to show you what all I did. Let's do a jump down to here. As you can see, I kind of put in a bunch of supports. So, you know, I figured the space elevator is pretty heavy. I mean, it's tethered. It's not technically weighing upon this support, but this support base is pretty big. So I thought, let's put some extra supports in here. And there's, you know, you can see them all off in the distance here, kind of supporting different parts of the base and trying to make the base look a little bit more logical. Up here, since it's kind of joined into the rock, I'm implying that the rock is the support there. But I think that kind of also makes sense in some logical way. And then wherever the rock kind of was, I either worked through it or around it a little bit to try to make that as fairly logical as possible. Just because this looks dumb without this one being right here, I'm putting that in. But as you can see, I didn't put any here. We've had these here for ages, so I left those there, but I didn't put any new ones in. That one down there's been there for ages. Actually, we had a large percentage of this done down here. I didn't actually come down here and look, but we actually had a large percentage of it done. I can see that the blue goo is still not really getting dumped into the sink, which is a bit surprising, but I guess maybe the plastic and the rubber aren't getting used enough. Yeah. Okay, so let's head back up to the main deck of the base. I put railings around the upper floor as well, where the smelting hall is, so you can see all of those there. And I also want to show off the hypertube changes that I made. So we already looked at. I guess I could have ridden the hypertube from there over to here. We looked at this one. That one goes this way. This one goes that way that we built in the last episode, and it goes all the way down to the end, off the end, and down to the back side of the coal plants. And so then this one here is fairly short. This one just goes up onto the upper floor. And I couldn't really put a railing in here because this is here, so I didn't put that one there. But that at least gets me up here so I can move around up here without using the jetpack all the time. So that's up here, and I just got sucked back in, which is fine because I wasn't planning on staying up there any longer anyway. I thought about building a hypertube from here over to kind of where the car is, the train station is, but it's kind of a mess right in this area, and I didn't want to work through it. So I left it alone. If I invest more time into this base, then, you know, maybe I will clean this up somehow and get a hypertube through there, even if it's up higher or something. But you can't get through this way. There's too much pipe and stuff in running here, so I just left it alone. I kind of would like to have a hypertube going to the train station, and then where I kind of pull off there with the car, but I think it's fine the way that it is. So let's take this hypertube, which used to go all the way to the end, or not all the way to the end, but all the way to that tube going down by the coal power plants. But as we talked about at the end of the last episode, this it makes more sense just turn this one off like this and bring it through like this and down here to the back side of the quartz refinery area to kind of come from, okay, I need to come from the base. I need to come over here for some reason. I thought about also making this ramp continue up into there, but it's actually not the right angle, I don't think. So it wouldn't actually square up to that very nicely, so I didn't do it. Oh, that's what I wanted to show with the railings, though. Over here, this area, just go up a little bit here. This area here, because of the ramps and the way that it's kind of molded into the land a little bit, I had to use some of the walls. So I used the wall to kind of be alongside the ramp, and then I put the railing next or on top of the wall to kind of make it look the same. So I did the same thing here and here with the walls alongside the ramps and the railings on top to make them look the same. I know people have asked for them, and there's something in the questions site for angled ramps. They don't have those yet. Hopefully someday they will. But then they'll have to have a 4x4 and a 4x2, or a 8x4, 8x2. Like, they'll have to have all the different sizes, so I don't see the railings happening with that very soon. And then on the sides of the base where they kind of meld into the rock, I didn't put railings. And because the foundation goes right into the rock, and it's kind of a smooth transition from the rock, or from the foundation right into the rock. Let's come back down here now. And I thought about also extending this a little bit to kind of connect to that, but then I said it's not really worth it. Down here we have, you know, the coal power plants over there that are still chugging out some nice black smoke there. So that's working. As you can see, I put in all the supports, although this one I think was already there. We put that one in very early on when we came down here and built this stuff. And of course the fog rolls in. But you can see all the supports still. Just to kind of give the base a little bit more logic. It's not perfect, but it's a little bit more logical now. It acts as if this planet has some form of gravity at least. So I can't remember if we built this tube in the last episode or if I built this one after the last episode. I think we built this one in the last episode. So I'm just going to ride this one. And then this one does the loop-de-loop back onto the platform, which was fun. And then we can go down, which we built in the last episode, down here to the coal power. And then we can hop this one and come back up and see the entire base again, kind of in long form here, as we follow this hypertube. And that'll end us back at the mall where I want to be for the next piece of this episode. The next thing that I want to accomplish in this series before it actually ends. This is very likely the last episode of this series unless I don't accomplish everything that I'm intending to do. But we're doing pretty well so far, so I'm thinking this is it. Just so that you guys are watching now 10 minutes in, know that. So in the comments, I think it was Video Game Geek, but also someone else might have mentioned something about syncing the more expensive items into a sink. I guess that was kind of redundant, but that's fine. Let's see. So like things like the turbo rigger motors, or turbo motors in general, I guess, not specifically the rigger ones, and supercomputers are kind of the most expensive two items in the game, and they also pull a large percentage through the course of the whole bus, which is kind of convenient that they're kind of the last two items on the bus, one on either side. Like, it's kind of fitting, I guess, that those are kind of the pinnacle of the technology that we've developed here on this series, or in this game, or on this planet. So what I wanted to try to do was look at, okay, the turbo rigger motors, or the supercomputers, sorry, they come in here. Now, what if I could split off from this? Let's switch to the other toolbar. What if I could split off from this somehow? With actually a smart splitter, but split off from this somehow and take that belt into and basically merge it with the turbo rigger motors, which I think is this one. Let's see, it's under, no, it's this one over here. There they come now, actually. And split this one off as well. And merge those two together and put them into a sink that I build, say, right over here someplace. So just to kind of place this maybe somewhere over here. That's just maybe temporary, but putting that out there and splitting off of these two lines and actually making these things go into a sink and use the smart splitter. Is that the smart splitter or is that the merger? Okay, that is the merger. Use the smart splitter to, of course, do the prioritization. I'm going to put this, I'm not going to square this up with any foundation. I'm going to put this in kind of an awkward spot a little bit here, but like right there. And then I guess I need to build something to get up there so that I can configure it. And so I want straight through to be everything or anything, and I think that's what that also means, but I'm going to pick any as well. And then I want left to be overflow. And that'll just give me that same thing like we've had elsewhere on the bus of taking the just taking the surplus from the supercomputers. And of course we don't have a full box of supercomputers yet, so we're not really going to see this in action just yet. I'm probably going to put a small stub belt to get it out to here someplace before we go into there. Yeah, let's do like a lift here. Where do I want this thing? Maybe... Where are you? You are here. That's a holding belt. How about like this? Is that good? I think so. No, it's not, because I didn't line it up properly. I don't know how high that is, so I can't do the math easily enough. That seems too high now. Yeah, it does. Okay, am I missing this? I mean, that looks right to me. That one was where we just put it, so let's put it there again. Why is that not lining up properly? That belt should be at a correct height. I guess I could do this as well. So what if we did something like this? Oh, I know what it is. I'm not exactly... Let's re-square this. Or let's square it to begin with, I guess. I'm not exactly at the right position. Let me put the jetpack on so I don't have to go around to climb the steps. At the right position to place this correctly. A smart splitter. That's where the AI limiters were for, was the smart splitters. That's why it was going to be a rarely used thing. Okay, so I think I can probably just do this, almost. Do. I forgot I have the jetpack on. I literally could have flown up here. Okay, and then we want left, overflow, center, any. Or any. There it is. So now, this should be fairly well squared up against that. So we shouldn't. I shouldn't say don't, but we shouldn't need this anymore. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is fall down and take some damage. Because what would an episode of this game be without me taking some damage from something dumb? And then we'll bring the lift down like this. Should I come all the way down to 0? I think I should. Oh, that's not good. Don't do that, Wally. Let's do the control tap method. I'm going to take the belt out again. And replace it so that it's lined up smartly. You? No. You? No. This one, then. Yep, they're going actually in it right now. Okay, so then this one is the same kind of situation. It'd be like right here. How did that end up looking, by the way? Looking okay? Yeah, looks okay. Yeah, this is the same spot, I think. And this one here? No. Did I put this in the wrong spot? No, I think it's in the right spot. This one here. Okay, good. Climbing. Or did I mess this up? Yeah, I did, because this is too close for this belt. But I can use these as a guide for the smart splitter, I think. Maybe this isn't the best spot to stand. Try and do this correctly. How about here? Wait, I moved too far. Okay. Thank you, jetpack, for saving me. So, this needs to be... I'm going to try and center myself. This needs to be like right here. And then this is a overflow, and this is an any. And then we can take these guys out. Thank you, autosave. I'm going to attempt to do this while climbing down. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But there we go. Okay, so that one might not actually be far enough away from everything to make this look right. This one I want to bring straight down. Yeah, I probably should have come out a little bit further. Well, let's put a merger in here, because we'll definitely need the merger either way. Maybe I should center it in this block. Except that I also messed that up. I think that's it. And are you... Okay, good. And then what if I just did this? Let's take this out. Should go against that one, I think. So it narrowed up to that belt because it's only 1 meter. Take you out. Take you out. So it still snapped okay because those things are pretty forgiving. But I'm going to change this belt again. Because I like it when the belt goes all the way in Otherwise, it's kind of clipped out here, and it looks weird if you're up close. So that's there. Is this in the good spot? I think I'm going to replace it. Let's see. Awesome sink goes... there. And then this goes... no. Like this, and then like that. And then where do I have power at around here? There's power. Bring this down. And into there. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So this will just automatically sync anything that is a supercomputer or a turbo motor once they fill up the boxes they're going into. Is there anything that I have too much of, like way too much of? I don't think so. And so we're going to kind of operate under the assumption that this actually works. I'm not going to stand here and wait for it because we have quite a bit of time to wait. I mean, that's getting there, but it's getting there. Like, it's going to take it, I don't know how long. And I've been, like I said, I've had this game running now for probably a good hour, working on, or maybe more, a couple hours maybe. And this is about 2/3 full. Working on the hypertubes and the supports, the foundation supports, the railings, all that stuff. So it's been a bit. And I think at this point that it's just a matter of time until those fill up, and then they start getting run into the sink, and that generates more tickets if we wanted to buy anything else, like those, like the statues and stuff like that. You know, someone, I think it was a Video Game Geek specifically, who mentioned that, you know, we could get a bunch of tickets and then go to the Fix-It shop, or the Awesome shop, I should say, and buy the statues. You know, these. I mean, the Adequate Pioneering one isn't bad. This one isn't bad either. But like the Satisfactory Pioneering one would be kind of fun. The Golden Nut would be hilarious, but 1,000 tickets is a lot of stuff to shred. Lizard Doggo, of course. The Confusing Creature and the Silver Hog would be... I mean, those would all be kind of fun. We have, like, 85 tickets or something, so we could build a statue. We could get either the Silver Hog or the Pretty Good Pioneering one easily enough. Easily enough right now, anyway. And actually, yeah, we have 34 here, and I think I have 50 over at the other spot there, so we could buy one of these, I suppose, and make that be kind of a pinnacle or a achievement for this map. Thank you. But it'll just now be a time thing. Like, let's just take all easy enough. And I think I do still have a Fix-It shop built over here. So I think I'll take the Pretty Good Pioneering statue. That's kind of fun. Add it to cart. And then buy all. And then we can take it from here, which we learned the last time. Actually, we could also have bought this one too. So maybe I should have bought the Adequate one and the Silver Hog or something, but it's fine. So let's go put this over by the mall as well. I think that'll be a good place to put it. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, you don't place it. You just hold it. Okay. Well, you hold it, but you're holding it by its hind end. Where'd it go? I just clicked. Did it disappear? Where did it go? Did it, like, get spent? Oh, there it is right there. Haha. Okay. Let's pick that up again. And put it down... You know, maybe, like, right here would be fun. except that I would like to have it be oriented differently. Maybe like this then? Yes, that's good. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit of fun here for the near end of the episode. We have the statue here. The next thing I'd like to do, I actually need to pause briefly to get it prepared. I wanted to show off something else kind of related to the game, and specifically something I saw on the Satisfactory-calculator.com site. So I'm gonna pause for a few minutes to get that prepped, and then I'll be right back with you in a moment. And welcome back. So this is Satisfactory-calculator.com. I have loaded up one of my saves from several episodes ago, episode 97. And as you can tell, at the end of episode 97, this is when we had come down to find the miner, and before we returned to the before we started returning to the base with the uranium. So here we are standing down here at the end of episode 97, in the middle of the waterfall, as we just fought the farty spider and placed that miner. And I want to skip a couple episodes ahead here by dropping the save file for episode 99. And you can see now that we've run the belt in all the way down from there, and you can see that the site even shows radiation. There's this radiation levels toggle here, but I found this quite interesting that it shows where you can actually pick up radiation damage if you go near this stuff. So this is the end of episode 99. When we had come back to the base, let's get rid of the fauna here. We had built almost everything. We were getting ready to build the reactors up here and finish that up. If you recall episode 99, I was standing here. I had just taken the screenshot actually of the base that I used in the thumbnail, and we were just getting ready to build the third reactor and bring everything up to the reactors and proceed from there. And we saved there and decided to save it for the next episode. And then I'll just show that one real quick, and then I'm going to skip ahead to the end of the last episode. Quickly here, this one shows the completed nuclear base, and the radiation now on the belt runs pretty much all the way back, not quite, but almost all the way back so we had backed up on uranium at this point. Because we're not using any of the power hardly that we're generating. You can see the radiation started to spread here in the base as we started processing the uranium into the different uranium components, or to make it into the fuel rods. And so then the end of the last episode, I'll add that one in. And again, we'll get rid of fauna and fog of war. And this is the main base. We can actually zoom out and I can show you all of that, because we also have placed all of these geysers at this point too. That's why I left the geyser filter on. Although I could probably hide the K filter. We don't really need that. I had it on for that purpose, but so these are the three we didn't go out to the far east and get. We actually aren't that far from them here at the quartz mine, so they wouldn't have been that hard to have gotten. That much more work to have gotten, I should say. And then the two down here in the grasslands. I mean, I'd have had to run power line from here all the way there, or come down off of the mountain here, which would have been tough, or go through that cave that we drove through so long ago now. And those two definitely weren't that interesting to me to get. But I guess I could have gone back out here and run that power line the rest of the way there and gotten those three geysers. They wouldn't have been too bad, but we have plenty of power, so I'm not that worried about it. But as you can see here, there's lots of radiation now. This is where we have our... Ooh, wow, we have 368 nuclear waste already in an industrial storage container. We've been using the power, the nuclear power. We have 33 in each one, so we've processed quite a bit of nuclear fuel rods. But I just kind of wanted to show this, and I thought it was kind of neat how it shows the radiation, and it surprised me when I first looked at it. So there's a big clump of radiation here where we're actually processing the uranium, and then here also a little bit where we're making the uranium cells, and then here also, but not as much in these two because there's not a real big backlog. But here these kind of amuse me. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to show, and then the entire base, the entire main base here of everything that we have. Oh, we have a box of shame here that I didn't get. It's fun that there's only one, so that's good. You can see here on the menu, but the entire base here. This is the oil refinery here. Here's the water pumps bringing all the water in for the oil refinery and the whole base for that matter. And then here is our power plant, our liquid fuel power plant out there. So that was what I wanted to show. Is just how this kind of looks, and especially the radiation showing as a big bleeding red scar along that whole belt length. So let's go back into the game now. There we go. Hopefully. Yep. And here in the game, now I'm going to actually pause again, and I'm going to drive out to the nuclear plant. It was mentioned in the comments during actually, I'm going to talk while I drive, and then I'll probably pause for part of it. It was mentioned in the comments a long time ago, right after we finished the nuke plant, that there might be something askew with some of the splitters, or the mergers, I should say, taking care of the nuclear waste. And one other thing, which I'll actually go into the comments and check on once I pause, but I want to drive back out here, and I also then want to take another piece of advice, and that is to set up a sink on the nuclear fuel units, so that once they are, if we can, if we can fit it in there, I should say, to where once the nuclear fuel units are backed up, that they just get sunk, because they are very valuable piece of equipment or trade-in value, so we can put them through the sink and keep this factory running full-time. So I will pause now, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, and we're back, and we're out here at the nuclear power plant. I need to put the hazmat suit on. I want to try and fit, and I think it'll work. I want to try and fit a splitter in right here. Even if I have to come off the side of it, I think it'll work. Let's see what we can do, though. See, that's that way. Splitter. Let's do right there. This way. And can I get... No, that's going to be too close. So what I'm going to do with this is... Which side do I want this on? Probably this side. I'm going to take this up. Actually, I'm going to... Ooh, how am I going to get up there? Well, let's go over this way. Away from the radiation damage. Get the jetpack out. That's not a jetpack. I still have the radiation suit on. And we'll go up this way. But I wanna do the sink on those nuclear fuel units before we actually fill up the nuclear reactors with... Oh boy, I wasn't thinking about that too. Do this. Take a little bit of radiation damage. Pop the hazmat suit on. And be able to not die. Alright. Let's go. So since we're up here, I'm going to do this part first. It was mentioned that one of these mergers might be a little bit off. But these all have... There's not anything backed up anywhere there or there. There goes some nuclear waste. That's pretty awesome. So I think these are okay. Unless I'm missing what was said. I think it was... I don't know, was it Kip or Jumper? One of you guys said in the comments that it was... that one of those mergers might have been a bit off. But I think they're all okay. Might have been off at one point, and I fixed it. Or was it one of these? It might have been one of these. Oh boy, that's a lot of radiation. Might have been said that it was one of these that was off. just fell off. Speaking of off. I think they're all okay. Because they're at the shortest height, and that's where they would need to be to bring items. The only one that looks like it might be wrong is that topmost one. Let me see if I can get over here. This is going to suck a little bit. Except that I didn't put it on again. I know I'm taking damage. I know. Relax. There we go. That topmost one, is that one correct? And I think it is. Problem is I don't have... Oh, I could utilize this ladder to come up onto this catwalk. Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. So, now what I want to do is I want to take this lift up. We head down there, hopefully, up to here, and then just replace this belt here with a curved belt. And that's the full 90-degree curve, so I'm okay with it. And now, let's go over to that far end where there's less radiation. But, I like the nuclear waste barrels erupting or emerging from. Jump down there, and now we're radiation free, so I can switch to the jetpack if I need it. Although I don't think I do for this job. A little bit right here, and then back to that. So this actually should have been a smart splitter, not a regular splitter. So am I going to mess myself up by having done that? Logistics, smart splitter. I think so. Let's do this again, but now I have a belt in the right spot, so I can hear it go. Tink. And be good to go. So you can connect to there. And then you can go right output. Any. Left output overflow. Okay, they're going there. And then we can build another sink right here. You know what? I'm going to fill this part in right here. That's not where you want to be. It's going to be off a little bit, but maybe we'll go right there. And then I can make this 90-degree curve here. And then something like that. So that should take those nuclear fuel units as they overflow and bring them into this sink that we just need to connect some power to. And here's a convenient power pole that has to be upgraded. That's in a convenient spot and everything. Alright, well that's the last thing that I wanted to accomplish, I think, in this episode and in this series. I mean, yes, I could do some of the beautification up here too, around here too on this base. But you get the idea as far as kind of the way that this is supposed to look and work. So I think that is it. If there's anything else anyone would like to see, this episode comes out on Sunday, the 31st, which is I guess a great way to end May. And then I will be starting a new game, new series, and I think what I'm going to start is Oxygen Not Included. I did play it on Twitch last summer when it came out of early access, but I think that's what I'm going to accomplish, or that's what I'm going to take on next. It may not be a daily series, literally everyday series like Satisfactory has been. Sometimes Oxygen Not Included takes a little bit of extra time. So, but it'll at least be 4 or 5 days a week. Just for me, gaming is sort of still in the hobby zone, so it's something that I do, and like I don't have I have a day job and stuff like that, so I stay here in. I try to do as much as I can, but sometimes the real life takes over a little bit too much. So I think this is it. I think this is the end of the series. Oh, we can see the space elevator off into the distance, which is nice. So thank you all for joining me for this series. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed as because of this series. Thank you to all of you guys in the comments who have left such wonderful comments and had conversation with me about it. As always, join me on Discord and continue the conversations about games. I have a few game channels, and there's always the general chat channel. If you have suggestions for games and you want to talk about them, come to the Discord, and you can find the link in the description below. And of course, you can watch me on Twitch. I stream on Twitch usually 4 days a week, 3 days by myself, and 1 day with some friends where we do some sort of co-op game. Right now, it's been mostly Astroneer, but we did try Overcooked once last weekend, and that's on Sundays, and then I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You all are pretty much aware of those, or should be pretty aware of those, because I do repost them here on YouTube for those who can't watch these streams for whatever reason. And so I hope everyone who has enjoyed this Satisfactory series will stop by and watch my Oxygen Unincluded series. Characters will be named after supporters of my channels and my my sort of hobby of gaming here. But once I go through all of the supporters, anyone who's active in the comments who would like to have a character named after them, speak up, and you can be next on the list. I usually have at least a dozen dupes, so that will be a very we'll probably get into people who ask to be characters as opposed to just supporters. So thank you all again for joining me for this episode and for this series. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I'm glad that you've all stuck out with me to the end here. And of course, if you have any additional things you'd like me to show off in this game, speak up in the comments or come to the Discord, and I'll do another episode or small series of episodes in this space, on this map, of anything anyone else is interested in. It's the end, but there can always be an encore. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you in the next series. Bye for now.